Well, I'm sort of experimenting here with, you know, Dark Souls 3. And, using all the rough curved sword today and experimenting with my recording settings, actually. Since I found out just now that it had actually been set to use my, software on the PC rather than the AMD card in the PC. Which resulted in, to say the very least, atrocious lag. Oh well, that's a new one, but yeah, pretty standard curved sword, and now that I've got this sorted out, I think it isn't going to be an issue, but yeah. Spacing. Like, it's a little slower than how it would normally run now after my recent upgrade. Oh, I can't believe that did. And yeah, Farron Greatsword, my weakness actually. Traded with him if I had... Ooh, what's this? Is he a casual? Oh, one spam, boys. Yeah, you're not going to manage it. But yeah, I like this weapon, even though its damage is a little subpar compared to other curved swords. I mean, look for example here, the AR is only 541, and you can get up to 609 with the Exile, which is a massive difference in the grand scheme of things. But you saw me use it there. It may have a standard moveset up until the weapon art, but that weapon art is incredibly fun to use. At least in my humble opinion, I suppose. But I think the general consensus is it's a fun weapon art, but the weapon overall is a little weak. But, it's alright using a weak weapon, because it still has the poise that I like. Has considerable range. And it doesn't really matter all that much, because if I do encounter someone who's going just for pure damage, I just have to outspace them and I can still win. But I'm not a professional player, but, I do have my upsides. I'm a proper Abyss Watcher. Let's see how this goes. Is he only going to use L1s? Like, look at the boys I had there. Ooh, wait, I think I might know this one, actually. It's who I think it is. What? Got ya. He got me. Because I hesitated. Fucking well done to him. I mean, should have gone for the full weapon art then, I might have got him, but didn't. Mistake on my end, I guess. The thing is, I'm not often that hesitant using the full weapon art on this, because it just, well, it does the little, well, I suppose flip at the end, though I would more refer to it as a jump back alongside a swing. And the reason it's good, in my opinion, is it actually puts distance between you and the opponent after the attack. And on several occasions, it's actually saved my arse from receiving a retaliation from them, because just that little bit of distance really does their head in. Does that ring... What are the weapons? Oh, is it a full Black Knight cosplay? I've got one of those. He's gonna... Yeah, he's pretty serious about it, isn't he? I don't know if I can poise through that. Ooh, that could have been nasty if he wasn't blocking. If I can break his poise. Come on, boy. You want to have fun, don't you? The poise of this weapon art. I am using the wolf ring. And for the mount, my other rings are Prisoner's Chain, Havel's +3, and Ring of Favour. And this is actually the regular setup for why I'm using the most now. So, I'll show the full setup now, just in between the matches. Not going to have the most amount of time in the world, but it should be more than enough. Judging by, the Dark Souls 3 matchmaker. But I have no issue with this build at all. Using the Outrider helm, Drake Blood armor, Pontiff Knight gauntlets and Herald Legion leggings, and I think it goes together quite well. Now, the reason for the Havel's ring is because this is a quality build, and it uses, I believe the heaviest weapon is the Black Knight Great Axe, which I love using. You're using soothing sunlight at the start. You're going to be one of those, aren't you, bud? That's can parry. You do need to be careful just R1 spamming. And yes, that is a true combo, I believe. Not one you see often, but you know. Yeah, I have to be aggressive towards him, and he's going to be incredibly passive, I feel, and do weird things that you don't normally see people doing. Yes, get in the wall. He went for the attack. Sucks to be you for that, but brilliant for me. But yeah, I like using this weapon. Damage per hit isn't amazing, but damn if it doesn't look good, and if it doesn't make some of the attacks extremely graceful. Plus, in comparison to most of the other curved greatswords, as far as I'm aware, its first part of the weapon art actually has a bit more range. Again, not positive on that, but you know, I think it is. And it definitely has its upsides. I do enjoy using it as a weapon. So, there's that. And also, I'm not sure if the video will have a thumbnail or not. Mainly because I've not actually got the software that I used to use to make thumbnails since the computer upgrade. Not sure if I'll get it back as it What on earth is this? Well, you're going to be interesting, aren't you? Because you're going to actually have poise. And yeah, I do enjoy the look that I have for my armour. And it tends to go well with pretty much any weapon, to be honest. Oh, you want me to be aggressive, do you? Well, we both have the poise there. Did I just bamboozle him with a weapon art? Well, that was amazing. That was not fair on me, because it wouldn't have normally staggered me, that weapon. And our connection just went a bit shaky there. Wait, wrong thing. This is what I want. Oh, didn't get it. He's got throwing knives, but I only have to land an R1 combo on him. But he can play passive. And just throw knives. Oh! Didn't hit me, but, you know, I was just doing a circle thing. Skinny as fuck. Look at that, ladies. Shouldn't be supporting that fat old body, should it there? But he had a surprising amount of poise with just regular R1s, but actually no he didn't. It was, no, the charge on that's always had the stupid amount of poise. The weird thing was just that double hit, which was pretty unlucky for me, but, you know, FromSoft make quality games, boys. And girls, for the matter. But yeah, it's just weird stuff like that, which is fairly annoying, I suppose. And for the matter, I will say one thing. The game, for me, is running at only about 41 FPS. During, well, in Firelink Shrine, while apparently to OBS it's running at a full 60. Not sure about that. Ooh boy, this is going to be interesting. I would get the Black Knight Great Axe normally for this, but you know, I'm going to be doing it with just this weapon. He takes no damage, bloody hell. Full Havels, that's what it does. That's one scary build he's got. But my weapon art is just as scary. I love the weapon. It has tons of poise because I've got the wolf ring, which I think I've already actually shown for the matter. But yeah, it does work when, because I've poised through quite a lot now actually, haven't I? I believe I've poised through a Black Knight Ultra Greatsword, or Black Knight Greatsword, and if you want to be technical, depends on which way you want to really go about it, but yeah, it's a pretty good weapon in my opinion, and quite fun to use, like genuinely fun. Like, it's a Covenant reward from the Found Watchdogs with a I believe you have to give them 10 of the sword grass and you get this as the weapon. And I believe the reward for 30 is the Great Shield, which has got the weapon art skill. And it's not a bad Great Shield, I've used it. No. You're gonna R1 spam and you're... Okay. Come to me. Come on. Let's go. Yeah, he's more cautious now, I feel. Or not. Yeah, you don't want to rely on that the overhead swing weapon art a lot, because if someone closes in, it's actually surprisingly slow for the weapon it comes from, and you can get finished off just like that there. There's no reason to not do it if you know they're not going to come in, but you have to be careful about it, especially when at lower healths. And yes, it is a weapon I actually have on this, I believe, at plus 10. Let's just have a quick look. Yep, it is. Alongside several weapons, yes, this is refined, because I think I checked. If not, I might be losing a tiny bit of damage, but is it really that bad? If it costs me a game, it costs me a game, so be it. And I mean, I'm having great fun with this weapon again. It just... I can't really say praises for the weapon art enough, because you've seen what it does, and you've seen... It's among the more unique weapon arts in the game, and... Oh, look, an unpleased name. Oh, it can break you out of poise. Oh, ho, ho. Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, I can trade with that weapon art, and I like that. I'm not sure if I can trade normally with those, but I'm assuming I can't, even though I've got 36 poise. I think I need around 38 to do it once, and then I'd need to poise reset. Or maybe I can manage a single hit, and then it'll break me afterwards. Unless I poise reset. Again, not entirely sure. Can't remember all the poise breakpoints, but I know that generally it goes in a sense that up until a certain point you can easily poise through the lower classes, and then you'll hit hammers and it becomes incredibly more difficult to poise through the weapons above it. So there's that. And anything else I would like to mention here? Well, I suppose I could also use, in theory, that ring, and I can also actually, if needed for invasions, use the Silver Cat ring, which gives this, you know, this build's got quite the capability. It's a quality build, and I'd say it's not really anything special, but it just feels very much how I want to play, is able to switch between many weapons rather than following the defined meta or only using one weapon. Hello, Austin. I see that's a parry tool. I'm very cautious about that, but you're instead going to do that. And I just missed my R2 completely. That's... And see, that's what I mean. Tricked. Not trading with that again, because last time didn't work. Ah, you son of a bitch. You're not doing that to me. Need to drink some blue. Hey! I sort of spammed it there, but you know, you kept falling for it, surprisingly. Like, I thought he'd pick up that I was going to do the weapon art if I knew he was going to parry, but he thought I'd just go R1, R1. Fair enough. I mean, most players in the arena are pretty predictable. But even then, I don't like parrying them because of latency. It really buggers me. And them, I suppose. Because I've got parried when I shouldn't have, but I've also managed, on the rare occasion I do parry, to land some parries I really shouldn't have. But that's just the latency you'll get when you actually are forced to use Wi-Fi. I mean, mine isn't particularly weak, it's actually fairly good. Like, my connection's actually better than it once was. Just it occasionally will shit itself, I suppose. And not really manage itself. Like it happened earlier, but sometimes that's because other people will use the same router. Of course, I will eventually have a wired connection now that I've moved. And, oh, it's in again. Eroholana. I'm not going to pronounce that right. Oh! Get bamboozled, boy. Oh, he didn't go for the full thing, though, did he? This is like Battle of the Weapon Arts. Oh, that range didn't quite do it. He knows what he's doing, sort of. Out we drunk. Let's get ready. Shockwave, boys. Pulled the full thing off again. Oh! You're gonna spam that, are you? Yeah, he's gonna spam that. Don't like that. Yeah. Great swords aren't good for pressuring, and in his case, he wasn't suited to do what he did there. Then again, he had a fair bit of poise, but he sort of didn't keep R1ing, and I think I might have caught him in the period where there'd be no hyper armor anyway. If it was an ultra, I would have probably been a bit more cautious. And actually, I do want to mention something a little lightheartedly at the end of this. I've gone over 4 minutes yet, since I want to go for 20. But there's something that I've seen on YouTube recently is a certain YouTuber is quite constantly saying that ultras, well, ultra greatswords in particular, are the worst weapon class in the game. Now, I've commented on there twice in particular, as of late, saying I sort of disagree with this, but I can see where you're coming from. Because I do have to admit, they're quite weak in duels they're basically the hardest weapon class. Just both of us going for our weapon arts. That was amazing, because I got right... Oh, yeah, that end strike has lots of poise damage. What the heck is that? Yeah, boy. Can only do it one... Ooh. Oh, that's a bit of lag, isn't it? Oh, that didn't really catch. A little bit of latency, but a pretty good duel nevertheless, especially that ultimate. It was one hell of a... almost anime. So, like, I got behind him and hit him while he was in the middle of that. That was amazing. But anyway, back to the minor little topic I brought up. And, well, he hadn't replied to my second. He replied to my first a bit. He seemed civil enough. And I know he can be quite civil, but he can also be fairly nasty. And I think he is starting to try a bit of drama, actually, with a certain other YouTuber as well. I'm not going to name either, though most people, I imagine, will know who I'm talking about. But I would say it's a very unique thing that's happening, because I know one simply doesn't care, the other's the one that's starting to try things. And I think it's just drama to try and get views for his channel. And oh look, a buffed weapon. That's got danger. And that was sweet. But yeah, this is a bit of fun. But yeah, with the drama that I think he's causing to get more views, like, fair enough, it does get you more views, if that's what you want to do, sure. It might affect how some people view you, but go ahead, it's your channel, isn't it? Like, I might do it even, but I don't really see the point of it. I'd just rather, you know, have people watch me for what I produce rather than, you know, any drama I start or similar. But regardless, I do think there's quite a bit of interesting things going on. And for the matter, after this duel, that'll be it. But I will show off what my stats are so people can have a look if they want to, say, make something similar. Not that it's very difficult with this setup. You could probably optimize it quite a bit further to get a very good bit of damage out of, say, a particular weapon or similar. Oh no, Abyss Watcher again. They're so common. that... I'm not sure if that should have caught him or not. Ooh, that could have hit him. Now, I will actually say, it's one of the items I've used now. The Famine Greatsword, and I actually sort of like it. Like, not as a overall weapon. Like, the dagger still gets me to no end. I've sort of learned a little more about the weapon. I'm gonna lose the duel, aren't I? Ooh! How did he not get hit by that? The lucky bugger. Anyway, that'll be it, and I'll show off my stats now. You will have to consider I've got the prisoner's chain on in relation to some of the stats shown, so remember that. For example, my endurance will only be at 35, not the 40 that is actually listed there. And I'd say the prisoner's chain is worth every last bit of it. So, yeah, my stats are there on the left, in the bottom. Vigour is at 46, endurance, and so forth. And yeah, my vit is quite low, allows me to have a hefty chunk of health even without the lifeline. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye for now.